Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome everybody. Today we will speak about a funding scheme that we find highly interesting, the INNOSUP projects, and we are lucky because we have here one expert, excellent expert, Marek Fair from DigiGrow. There is some noise. I don't know if this noise is from Google. Yeah, I think it's better now. Yes. So, welcome, Marek. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I was asked to give some a presentation basically on funding possibilities for SMEs, but mainly using the example of our INNOSUP. I'm going to present you the general approach, how it is financed, how it is going to be probably financed, and where clusters can be in. So Antonio, given I don't have control
yes,
of the slides, can you go to the end of this clicking so that the slide is full?
Complete. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see here how complex the whole support for SME innovation is, as the issue is very complex. Basically, when we are talking about SMEs, definitely you need to have you need to have access to market, you need to have access to finance, you have to need access to knowledge if you want to be innovative. So it's a kind of complex mix of regulations and funding and public procurement. It's a pity I cannot show you, but okay. You have standardization, for example, public procurement. You have trade agreements between EU, which all impacts the SME innovation. We have the IP patents, all basically issues which we discussed. And then you have the whole range of financing opportunities in EU. I'm going to, at this moment, to go to this at the very left corner. You can see at the bottom INNOSUP 1, small, very much small one, but very impactful. INNOSUP 1. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So we have in DigiGrow part of the Horizon 2020, which is dedicated to SME innovation. And this has been started in 2015 with the calls, and every year now we have more or less 4 or 5 projects financed to up to 130 million euro with the aim to have support to 2,000 SMEs. These are projects actually which are aiming at, as Horizon is doing, in excellence. So bringing on board clusters which are at the frontier of development of technologies and allowing taking up of these technologies in SMEs. One of the main principles is to have clusters as the transmitters of money to SMEs, but the main recipient are SMEs, not cluster organizations. So cluster organizations are the ones who are enabling the use of money from SMEs with the assumption that clusters can be the one who can quickly find and implement launch calls and implement transmission of money to SMEs. If you switch, Antonio, to the next one. So Horizon 2020 has a big work program, and chapter 7 is exactly for innovation in small and medium-sized enterprises. In the link, if you click, but we can give the link later to the people. You see the work program for 2018-2020. So all these projects or programs were launched. Yeah, and then you have like 54 pages of precise description about each of the program. So if you come back now, yeah, you can see that there's no, just back. Yeah, so on these pages you can look at each work programs, and then if you come to the slide, so you see that there are several INNOSUPs. The one which is the unit I am in cluster policy, social economy unit, we are dealing with INNOSUP 1, cluster facilitated projects for new industrial value chains. And but there are as well other INNOSUPs. Basically, all of this has been already closed. The one that is still ongoing is it will be, and the deadline will be in December. It's INNOSUP 8, Pan-European Advanced Manufacturing Assistance and Training for SMEs. But at this very moment, we are being in the process of analyzing the INNOSUP 1 2020. We have received 130 proposals. We can choose only 5. So this is the two-stage selection process. And the next selection, right now there's evaluation going on. In August, the people will be invited to the shortlisted projects will be invited to the second stage in order to finalize the list in September. So if we go further, at this very moment there is a range of 24 projects from 2015 and 2019, plus this 5 or 6 which we will have, around 30 projects financed. We call them cream of the cream, best of the best of innovation SMEs with clusters we can have. So actually all of them are very well described at our cluster collaboration portal, where you can find in one of the tags you can find INNOSUP 2015, 2016, and go to see one by one. If you go to the next slide, there is a range of projects you can Antonio, if you manage, you can open Activate, for example. Yeah, as a good example of projects which is showing how important it is to bring together several sectors. So if you scroll down, there's a range of people in consortia from research institutes and businesses. If you maybe Antonio go up, please, and if you go to projects, usually this is cascade funding. So we have the situation that 25% is for coordination and organizing calls. The rest is going for the directly through different forms to SMEs. Very like, for example, vouchers. But I will go through it. So these are concrete small projects which are initiated by this call, and with SMEs, and you see there's health in agri-food, health in aerospace. So there's a mix of ecosystems, and this is something which we want to find, transfer technology in between sectors. If you come back now, so if we there are plenty of examples that we can go. Yesterday, for example, Internet of Things. You had a chance to look at this very moment up to May 2019. According to our knowledge, the 3,200 SMEs have received support. Direct, it was directly channeled to them. So we go beyond our objective of 2,000. Practical example, for example, Cross for Health. Practical example, applying 3D printing technology for producing organs and using artificial intelligence for supporting nurses. And you can go in each of them, and they are really fantastic things which were implemented on the basis of the knowledge generated in the EU by the EU. So it's very much value added, which is creating new value chains in the EU. Now the thing would be how to make it more known and communicate about this across, so that they can roll out even further. So if you go further, so you can receive this presentation. It will be no. So come back, please.
Okay.
Back, yeah. Okay, so this is 2019, and this is what we had a kickoff meeting of these projects last week. They are all bringing together different, you could say, ecosystems in order to find concrete problem, to find solutions for concrete problems. And if you take Galactica, they have, for example, a mix of textiles, airspace, and advanced manufacturing, finding together the solutions. Okay, next slide, please. So this needs to be updated, but the picture will not change much. Geographically, the countries like France, Germany, Spain are the biggest beneficiaries of this support. Then if you go further, please. Sectors covered, ICT, of course, this is the most popular, but as well in line with digitization. And not surprising that agro-food plays an extremely important role as well, and probably we expect health will come even more. If you can go to the next slide, please. So different kinds of support directly to SMEs, very popular innovation vouchers, very often through as well lump sums, so that there is no bureaucratic burden. Prizes and awards are for achievements, organized hackathons, innovation clubs, crowdfunding. These are the most popular from all these 24 projects that we fund. But basically, the main things, it results all in acceleration of the take up of new technologies across the board. Next slide, please. As you see, we consider this as a cross-sector and cross-regional innovation. So cluster organizations to be involved as facilitators, but as well activators of actions, and direct innovation support at the 75% of support goes directly to SMEs, not to cluster organization, but to SMEs. And the cluster organizations are organizing this. This needs to have, by definition, the complementarities with smart specialization strategies on the ground, and there's a variety of support innovation tools that you saw. Basically, the output is we are with the Oslo manual definition of innovation, broader innovation, including as well process innovation and not just product innovation. So open innovation, user-driven innovation. This is what triggers our demand-driven innovation. Triggers our thoughts in this course. The next one, please. So impact we expect from this. So basically, creating or reinforcing existing value chains. New value chains. This is something which is coming from the cross section between ecosystems. Leverage support for innovation with private funding as well. Contribution to smart specialization strategies, and basically improve business environment for SME innovation. The next slide, please. If we now think about the future, so this budget is more or less 25 million euro a year for SME innovation. You see, this is very limited to 5 projects, but this is very small INNOSUP one, but with a very impactful, very small in budget, but very impactful. And now, as we are in the EU funding, then I'm coming back to what we had discussed 2 weeks ago on EU funding, that we need to have a strategic approach from cluster community to all the funding to be available. So right now, on the 27th of May, we had this EU budget we proposed. Today, exactly, the Council is debating on the European Commission proposal. So we have this MFF proposal, 1.1 trillion euro, which we already proposed, plus 750 billion euro in the next generation EU. And if you go to the next 3 slides will be where basically the money for SME innovation lies. So this is Horizon 20 Europe. Of course, everyone associates, if we are talking associates the innovation support for SMEs or research with the Horizon Europe. But I must here say this is the traditionally very supply approach, supply research supply. So you have linear approach to innovation, that you have research, you have, and then you uptake. Very often, market is forgotten, but now it's more and more getting into the direction that market, like the European Innovation Council, is taken on board. And then the projects already from the very beginning are going to meet the needs of the market and needs of enterprise. So if you have the Horizon, then you have in this green all set of different projects, different programs which are going to be in MFF at a very top level, a single market program, very small, very modest, 2.5 billion euro, but for us extremely impactful, because we can have the showcases how things can be done. So this cream of cream, which can then further be shown in structural funds and life and the other funds. So if you go to the another slide, then we have InvestEU, a huge, but mostly for loans and financial instruments. The instrument which will have as well the packets of support for research, innovation, digitization, and small and medium-sized companies. In total, it's expected to have the investments of 650 billion euro from this InvestEU fund. So there is a huge potential for projects, not just grants, but as well really financially viable projects, which are met by markets. Then next one, please. Here, the smart growth in cohesion policy. At this very moment, when I count the money for the 2014-2020, there is 65 billion euro for only for research and innovation, additional 97 billion euro for SME competitiveness, and another 20 billion for digitization. This all actually will be probably even more with the new recovery package in the new financial perspective. So when people think about innovation in SMEs, they think, well, Horizon, but actually big bulk of money is in cohesion policy, but this in shared management being distributed, let's say, and managed operationally by regional authorities and national authorities. But very often people don't even know that this is the EU funds, despite obligations the member states and regions have to put that this is funded from ERDF. But if Antonio you would go to this cohesion data teams, if you manage to click on this link, Antonio.
Yes, it's done.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to show it, and if you go to theme, yeah, and you go to research and innovation, for example. So you have all data by country and regions, how much budget it is, and go down. If you scroll down, please, down. Okay, here is by country, but I want to show the latest status of because you were interested. Later, go down, please. Down.
More?
Yeah. Here. No. Up for this
Here?
chart.
This chart. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This one. This is exactly how the state of absorption of financing for research and innovation in countries is by the end of 2019. It is in some cases accelerating or not. A very sad position of Greece and Cyprus, and very good Slovaks, Portuguese, Dutch with contracting. But I wanted to show it because people were asking how much this has an impact on CRE as well, because the CRE is this package for recovery for COVID was based basically on non-spent on non-contracted available funding. So you can see that there are still countries who can use big bulk of money for the purpose of COVID, regardless of earlier strategic choices. So this is the web page, very interesting. I suggest to have a look at this. And then if you come back. Yeah, so basically, Horizon 2020, Invest EU, Smart Growth, the cohesion policy. These are the main. And then if you go next slide, please. And then we have now this 750 billion recovery package discussed today in the council, where will be as well again the top up of money, including innovation, very much in related to COVID, but not only. The main point that the 750 is going to be borrowed on the market, so it must be returned on this investment for our future generations. So we think about the investments. This will we will have the Invest EU increased top up on cohesion. Single market program remains at the same level, but in all of this, as I mentioned before, there will be support for innovation in SMEs. Next slide, please. So if you go to the last, the third, yeah, no, go up, yeah, yes, that one, please, yeah. So for everyone who is not knowledgeable or not in all this labyrinth of funding in the EU, there is the web page funding and tender opportunities. If you scroll down, you can go through different programs and different calls in these programs. So yeah, you can if you go up, you can go to Antonio, please go up, please. Yeah, so in search you can go for search funding tenders, and then you will find tenders. Here you will have as well history. It is usually close, going or foreseen. As I looked yesterday, the next foreseen we will be interested is the SME innovation for this advanced manufacturing. So this is related to Horizon, all EU programs. So you can have a look by different topics what you want, and as well you see the COVID-19 outbreak special calls. Yeah, also yeah, exactly. Pan-European advanced manufacturing up to December 2020. Yeah. So and here you can find as well the details on the closed calls we had on INNOSUP 1. So all calls are here. Commission is extremely transparent, as you know from this stuff. So if you come back now, let me come back to my go next. My part that I could have direct influence together with my colleagues in the unit. So we, you know, in COSME, we foresee joint cluster initiatives, and we are working on this. Basically, we would like to develop value chains, interlinkages in the EU single market, build capacity to increase strategic autonomy, and reinforce transformation into a greener and more digital economy. So being in line with SME strategy, industrial strategy, and the latest announcement of the recovery package. So as well concentrating on critical infrastructure, critical inputs, critical technologies, so that all the ecosystems which we have are more sustainable, more resilient within. The clusters play an important role within this ecosystem, but as you know and you saw from our INNOSUP, the world is the innovation world and the future world is in interlinking these ecosystems in order to have resilient, green, and digital. So we will go in this direction for the next calls in 2021-2027. If you go to the next slide, and this will be my last one. So on this basis, we want to have industrial ecosystems very strong inside, but linked to each other, because this is how the business world works. And the last slide, if you go down, then I would like to put later for the discussion these three questions on main parameters of future initiatives. So the value of this projects, now average value is around 3 million euro. Co-financing rate at this very moment, the co-financing rate is pretty high. It's from 70 to 80%. Time it's to 3 years. There's cascade funding, so 75% is going directly to SMEs. And the question is, should it be concentrating within the ecosystems or among the ecosystems? So thank you very much for your attention, and I will give probably the next. I'm happy to respond questions, but I know there is a person to present the latest beneficiary winner of our INNOSUP project, Mind. Yeah. So Mind the Gap probably will be after, and then maybe we have discussion. Okay, thank you very much, Antonio.
You are really welcome, Mark. It has been an excellent masterclass for us, and for sure we will return to you with a lot of questions, I'm sure. Santiago, are you there?
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Antonio. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Welcome. Yeah, we can hear you. I will try to give you the presentation rights. We will see if it works. Do you have it then? Yes, we are seeing your screen. So, thank you, Santiago. Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Antonio, and European Commission and European Cluster Collaboration Platform for the invitation to present our last achievement, which is this Mind the Gap INNOSUP. So my name is Santiago Cuesta Lopez. I am the General Manager of Icancil Foundation, which is the coordinator of this new INNOSUP proposal, Mind the Gap. And I am also part of the board member and one of the pushers of the national cluster for raw materials mining and associated value chain in Spain, which is called ISMNC, the Iberian Sustainable Mining Cluster, which is a cluster working in raw materials, but not only focusing in the raw materials per se or in the mining extraction, also in all the value chain that cross-fertilize the raw materials work on the raw materials community. So you cannot see perhaps very well because of the quality because I reduced the quality of the PDF, but raw materials are super essential and are key and essential for our lives. Raw materials, for instance, are essential for the battery value chain and to achieve the clean transition and mobility agenda. So if you check, we have to produce nickel, cobalt, graphite, lithium, and this is part of the scheme of where is going to be produced in Europe. No raw materials means no technology. This is something that we can also see when we look into a mobile phone, for instance, into a cell phone. Copper, tungsten, silver, gold, and the rare earths elements are critical and essential for the technology. And now very important, because of the present health situation, all the pills, all the drugs, all the excipients in the medicaments, they contain raw materials. They contain titanium, sometimes they contain phosphates, they contain, and without raw materials extraction, we cannot think on manufacturing anything. And if you know, or if you have visited sometimes, anytime a mine, you will discover how difficult it is to operate there. The conditions are extreme for the workers. It's very difficult to maintain safety measures. Now I am thinking in terms of the COVID-19 situation. Try to think into disinfect kilometers and kilometers of tunnels and galleries. So this is quite a big problem that we are facing in the raw materials industry because of the COVID-19 situation. If you go to the key figures of the raw materials, you will discover some people think that mining and raw materials are not as essential in our lives, but if you check, more than 3.4 million of works, of jobs in Spain depend directly on the raw materials. So I am speaking about 3.4 million of jobs. But downstream, all the industries that depend on the raw materials value chain, that, as I said, it is quite influential and quite long, accounts for 25 million of jobs, and in Europe it generates 1,422 billions of euros. And if we go also to the raw materials recovery, repairment, and all the delivery value chain, we also assume 2.2 extra million of jobs. So, and also Europe, in terms of technology, is one of the leaders for the raw materials value chain. So raw materials and mining in Europe is very important because we generate a lot of research and development. We are generating a lot of jobs, a lot of work, but also we are producing, and this is very important, we produce raw materials for the full value chain and the full products. Therefore, having a problem in the raw materials and production value chain is going sooner or later to be reflected in the prices of our daily products, are in the availability of products. And this we are going to feel very soon because, for instance, the nickel production has been reduced in a 30% in the last 2 months. Also the iron, also the copper, and this is also a worldwide problem because of the pandemic. So sooner or later, we are going to have a problem. So we need urgently to create a resilience in our raw materials value chain. We need urgently to adapt it to avoid problems in our delivery of daily products. Here is what we have called the Mind the Gap ecosystem, because the Mind the Gap project did not arise from zero, did not arise from the vacuum. It started, or is a derivation of a strong alliance that we have cultivated, that we have grown in the last 5 years. This alliance is based on different Interreg projects. Remix, Smarty. Remix is dealing with the raw materials value chain. Smarty is dealing with the Industry 4.0. Mireu, which is an Horizon 2020 program, integrating the 30 partners of 17 regions in Europe, so are the mining and metallurgy regions of Europe. And the consortium and the project tries to solve the top challenges needs in mining. Now, this is the original picture when we proposed the project, because the proposal is in 2019. Now we must add another challenge in mining, and that is the COVID-19 situation, unfortunately, which is not solved at all. Because just to give you a figure, in the last 3 months, more than 240 exploitations has been closed because of the COVID-19. This is going to be super big problem in the next months if we don't adapt or if we don't find a solution. And this is even more problematic for the small and medium enterprises. So our project tries to synergize and cross-fertilize the circular economy, advanced manufacturing, and information and communication technologies, and the environmental technologies to solve these challenges in the mining and raw materials value chain. We are focusing with this big ecosystem in essentially boosting and proposing activities for the small and medium enterprises. This ecosystem is also synergized with an S3P platform that is called Mining and Associated Value Chains, again with an intensive work under the S3P scheme of different regions. And our main activity is to transform the traditional, up to now mining value chain, thanks to all this cross-fertilization, to transform it in the mining value chain, sustainable mining value chain. And now we added a new challenge, as I said, that is a resilient to pandemic raw materials and mining value chain. We are going to launch 3 open calls for helping small and medium enterprises. The 2 calls that are above are the ones that were scheduled, proposing demonstration and pilots in the mining value chain, essentially integrating sustainability activities and also advanced manufacturing and ITC technologies to automatize and to create safety for the workers, and to automatize a lot of processes to create the new Industry 4.0 point of view of mining. But now we are thinking, because the project is going to be launched next month, to amend urgently to try to launch calls for innovative measures to make the raw materials industry resilient to pandemic. Because, as I said, this is very critical. And also we have a lot of small and medium enterprises that are in risk of being closed. The big companies in mining are in risk, but are not as in risk that the small and medium enterprises in the value chain of mining that were providing all the services. If we lose these small and medium enterprises, it's very important to notice that we will lose the full raw materials value chain. We will lose it because a lot of small and medium enterprises are the ones providing the services and supporting the tractors that are the big companies. And finally, let me say that this is, as I said, Mind the Gap is not something that is created from vacuum. We are not alone. We are the coordinators, but this project and other projects that are associated to this, like for instance the creation of a European Circular Economy Alliance, which is also going to focus a lot in the raw materials and also different activities, is the result of different partners or different associations and different institutions like the Digipolis in Finland, like Smart North also in Finland, and like Enable, which are also progressing and pushing and boosting the S3P platform alliance that we have between regions. And we are all together trying to create a new ecosystem of raw materials, now digitalized, solving all the sustainable challenges that mining has, but also now resilience in resilience to pandemic. And Mind the Gap is going to be one of our tools and one of our mechanisms to achieve these challenges. These were just some slides explaining the pilots, but I think I consumed my 10 minutes already. And thanks a lot for your attention again, and thanks a lot, Antonio and the European Cluster Alliance for giving me the invitation. And I am available for any kind of questions or any kind of collaboration or any kind of ideas or solution for our raw materials industry or for our companies. Thank you very much.
You are very, very welcome, Santiago, and congratulations, because you are a great leader. I can testify on this project.
Thanks, Antonio.
Okay, so I think that it has been a very, very concrete examples of what INNOSUP can do, even can do for the next months, next years, even for fighting the effects of the COVID. So now it's time for the question, for the comments, for the discussion. The floor is yours. Who is the first? I am sure that somebody have questions for Marek, for Santiago. Okay, Marek, I have questions for you. Okay. Of the next programs, I understand that they are on the analysis of the European Parliament and European Commission. What can we do in that area? Can we in any way support your requests, your proposals? How can we help you or collaborate with you?
The question to me, sorry, Antonio.
Yes, Marek.
Okay, it's very simple, because first of all there must be a very lots of noise that these projects are useful, and not only for community but for economy. And this is something that there's many lobby groups around who are going for different funding, better, was organized, big, and what is important is to just do the noise communication that these things are useful. If they are, this is important. If you find it that this is something that helps SMEs, because at the end of the day, this is what we want. This is the first thing. The second thing is there is I put this questions I need at the end of my presentation to have your feedback parameters of potentially future calls. So the value, co-financing rate, time within ecosystems, among ecosystems, what you think would be the most valuable for SMEs across EU, and I think the most important, as you know, at this very moment, we will concentrate on working and supporting ecosystems. So in our cluster conference in November, this will go very evident. So content support, how we need to organize ourselves in cluster community to within ecosystems, within this 14 ecosystems, but as well among the ecosystem, so that cross clustering will be extremely important for transition for digital and environment. I think the most valuable for me would be to give as we are doing now, to give a noise that the clusters are the most effective channel of bringing our strategies to the reality, because the cluster members are the closest to reality. And if you are always saying in the Commission that the SMEs is 80% of our economy, then this should be reflected as well in actions supporting SMEs. And we know that the knowledge transfer is difficult for SME. The knowledge uptake is difficult. We know as well from all the analysis that we had that we are lagging behind with acceleration the uptake of innovation in SMEs in Europe, which is undermining our competitiveness. So the thing is to mobilize and to activate, and here I would say as well to activate at regional level, because we have very diversified economies across Europe. Even within one country, we have the difference between northern Italy, southern Italy, typical, but as well in France, between France, Ile-de-France, and the rest of France. In every country, we have different economic tissue. So the tailored approach must be then tapping up to this cohesion policy. Funding or smart specialization will be as well as much important as excellence in our projects. Thanks a lot. And I see Pierre Padilla is
asking.
Yeah. For, yeah.
Alliance. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Answer. Sorry, Marek.
He's asking for alliances. That we are now concentrating on thematic alliances, which are going to, like, battery alliances, and new alliances will come, but they are going to be linked with massive investment and EU Invest. So this is something that will definitely the funding streams will be channeled. I cannot say about mechanics at this very moment, as we still don't have MFF finalized. Yeah. So another question: disclosable document explaining this difficulty you are mentioning. Yes, there are many different documents I can dig out. We had many even internal communications or so on this. So I will pass to Antonio. This. Okay.
Thank you very much. Don't doubt to us by voice, because I think it's good to have a dialogue. So Patrick, for example, what would you comment?
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Antonio. Yes, thank you, Marek. I just wrote the question. Yes, how much would you, from the Commission side, would expect to implement the Green Deal, let's say, into all the instruments and the program you mentioned, and in particular INNOSUP? I think we have a session next Monday, but if you can give us some insights. Thank you.
And the answer is very simple. It's an integral part. So I mean, greening equals for us competitive, and I will repeat what my political masters are saying, my president or my commissioner, we are not going to rebound, we are going to leapfrog to economy which is more green, more greener, more digital, and more resilient. So Green Deal is integral part of this recovery.
Yeah. And just to remember you, next Monday we will have a special and very interesting session on green recovery, so everyone is invited. Also to spread the invitation to that session, because as Marek has just said, we need to be here. So please forward the invitation to others. And I will take the moment just to also remember you that we are going to have a dialogue with the Commissioner Thierry Breton on the 30, Tuesday 30, 3 p.m. Central European Time, and you are also very, very encouraged to participate. Okay, so more questions for Marek or for Santiago? Comments?
Antonio, can I make a very short question to Marek? Marek, one important aspect is the evaluation and the measure that we do about the impacts of the policies in the SMEs. How do you think that in the future we could improve that?
You mean improving the monitoring and evaluation of our measures?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the story. There's thousands of pages already, and on monitoring and evaluation of EU support for SMEs, EU support for innovation. Still, there is this is the scope which probably will be always developed. Here, I mean, we are in, still with the when I was dealing on smart specialization, monitoring of smart specialization, this was a big challenge. You can have KPIs, key performance indicators, but if key performance indicators are not linked to either reward or penalizing, then the key performance indicators are becoming only illustrative, and this is what is the case mainly. Very often, some in the public domain across EU. This is one point. The second point, the monitoring evaluation, which we challenge excellence with the World Bank. Actually, right now, when I left DG Regio, we started to have a project with World Bank on the really state-of-the-art monitoring, which actually is sort of promoted long time ago. One of my conferences in smart regions, the Professor Sable, the diagnostic monitoring. So you are monitoring at the same time, trying to find out what are the actions needs to be taken during the implementation of the project, so that so that you don't evaluate after that you made a mistake, but at the same time you are correcting already mistakes that you are doing. Actually, when I was in private business, this was business as usual, because people cannot afford to have failed projects. In public domain is a bit different, I think. And then monitoring and evaluation, if you have evaluation 7 years, 10 years after the programs, it's only good for academics, but it's not good for, in my view, for the for really making things happen on the ground and improving efficiency and effectiveness. But the last 3 points I mentioned are my personal opinion on the basis of my experience with monitoring and evaluation. You know, there is a big there is one enabling condition to put in place monitoring and evaluation in regions. There are some regions who are doing this quite well. I would say I can name it Basque or Emilia Romagna, Catalonia as well. It depends very much on the level. We are monitoring at program level, at project level. But this is a huge, fantastic topic. People like KPIs, people like numbers. So thank you very much if I was too much long. So.
Marek, returning to your questions that are for sure really interesting, and we should work on them for other session. I'm totally sure, okay, about that. In fact, I will keep them for other session. But returning to your questions, I think that one opinion, general opinion in the cluster community is that the INNOSUP projects, the INNOSUP 1 projects should be reinforced. And as you say, the quantity now is very low compared with the rest of the initiatives, and the effects, the impact is great. It's really great. So our proposal will be to increase the budget, but significantly, not just by a 20%, but multiply it. Do you see a possibility on that area?
Antonio, I wish it could happen, but there is the budgetary. It's beyond my control. We are taking it. There's the European Parliament, there's the Council. They decide about and our proposal as a Commission. But in the end, it comes with interinstitutional negotiations. So you know where are the powers who can push for that.
Okay, but that's our proposal, and we need to let it be public, okay, so clear.
For example, there is, if you know, science business. If you go to science business website, or you receive the newsletters, then you clearly see how constantly and rigorously the push for money for Horizon 2020 is there. If you have a cohesion, you have friends of cohesion, and very clearly the states of friends of cohesion pushing for money in the cohesion. You have groups of interest which are pushing, all in a good sense for improving the economic performance of the EU.
Yeah, but we need to learn, and we need to organize. As you said, there are groups far better organized than us. But this is part of our task, of the task of the European Cluster Alliance, and is the value of our pan-European network. Okay, but yeah, we need.
Even if you go to web page of EARTO, you just go to EARTO. I mean, for me, they are blueprint of how you need to do it. With very good managers there. So you can see for COVID actions for COVID, how they reacted and how they communicated, and they are the main, of course, the partner for DG research.
Yeah, we need to
not
work.
only because I work with them very well in the cohesion policy as well.
Okay, that's about value and about the cascade funding models. I have also one comment. In our experience, is probably the best way to go for the SMEs, because what we are doing is add value for them. We are able to, as Santiago has shown, SMEs usually doesn't have the knowledge or the resources to know what is happening at global level, at a strategic level, what is aligned with the European strategies or with the regional national strategies. Okay, and that's the power of our networks, of our not only the regional clusters or the national cluster, but also the network of clusters. So for me, it's very clear that this kind of cascade funding using our network as expert intermediary to help them is really the way. I would like to hear opinions on that area from the audience. Somebody? No. Today everybody is very shy.
Hi, Antonio. Yeah, this is Monse from BioCat. Yeah, I was writing that. Thank you for the presentations, and those are really interesting. And I was just answering you by the chat through the chat that I totally agree that this cascade funding model is really important for the regional clusters and also the national clusters and the networks to be implemented, because we know we have a close lecture on the ecosystem, a close vision, a perspective, an insight, a mission, and then we can identify actions and the stakeholders to activate these cross-sectorial and cross-border networks. So I think this is really instrumental, and our role as clusters and as networks of clusters is probably trying to propose and to let's say to lobby to accomplish that to be really more important and significant in the perspective of financing from the EC. So I was just wanting to reinforce your words, because I totally agree with you on that sense.
Thank you very much, Monse. Okay, so it's time to close. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marek. Thank you, Santiago. It has been very interesting. I'm sure that the video will be reviewed carefully, because we need to think about what you have shared with us, Marek. And we will have another session focused, I think, in your question, because they merit our reflection and our discussion. Thank you, everyone, and you are invited. You know, on Saturday we will have a kind of internal meeting for improving what we are doing. Okay, but anyway, you are especially invited for next Monday session on green recovery, and all the sessions that we will have in the near future, you know, daily, that we will be for sure very interesting. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marek.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.